Dan Illman, Mike Beer for Breeders' Cup Focus. In this edition, we're going to take a look at the top contenders for the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint at 5 furlongs. Let's throw up our contender list. They are ranked in order by Daily Racing Form National Handicapper Mike Watchmaker's preliminary morning line. For expanded Breeders' Cup contender lists, comments, additions, deletions, go to drf.com/BC. The brilliant filly Lady Aurelia is 8-5 on Watchmaker's morning line. Marsha from Europe is at 7-2. Disco Partner at 9-2. Holding Gold from Mark Cassie is at 12-1. Pure Sensation, very fast horse, especially at 5, 15-1. Bucaro coming off of a win at Keeneland recently at 20-1. The old-timer Hoagie, he's real consistent, is at 20. Mongolian Saturday won this race a couple of years ago at Keeneland. He's at 20-1. And a couple of Europeans trained by Aidan O'Brien, Washington, D.C. and Intelligence Cross round off the list. But let's talk about Lady Aurelia. She has been brilliant in most of her races. She went overseas, she won there. She came back to Keeneland, she won there. And then in her most recent start, we're going to take a look at that performance right now. I mean, here she is on the lead with Frankie Dettori in those yellow silks. And Marsha's going to give her a stiff test to the end of this race. And they're going to throw it down the last furlong or so. And Frankie Dettori on Lady Aurelia thinks he wins it.
Yeah, he thought he held on here. He thought he got another nice win for this filly. This was a very game performance from her, though. I mean, she's really digging in at the end. You can see there when the first challenger crept up to her, that Shadwell horse, and she got down to business and ran away from that horse. But she just, this Marsha just kept coming at her at the end, and she just gets pipped right on the wire. That was a pretty tough beat. She's a really, really talented turf sprinter, man.
That was the Numthorpe Stakes. Marsha is a battle-tested European runner. I believe she won the prestigious Prix de la Baie last year. After winning the Numthorpe, she ran back in the Prix de la Baie and retained her form with a good second-place finish. Yeah, she's a very solid runner, 7-2 on the morning line. I mean, she's, we know she can step with Lady Aurelia.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's nothing to knock about her just going back over her form, sprinting on turf over there. I mean, she just runs nothing but good races, and if they come for the Breeders' Cup, she's supposed to be tough in there.
But it seems that Lady Aurelia's versatility and speed really make her dangerous. Her last two races overseas have been very, very good. Disco Partner has sort of been a revelation for Christophe Clement. I mean, this horse was always a really nice turf sprinter for Jimmy Ryerson. He was turned over to Clement, and he's just put up some gigantic Buyers speed figures, and he got a nice prep recently in the Belmont Turf Sprint Championship. This is your circuit. He's 1-5. He's supposed to win.
Yeah, he was supposed to beat this horse. This is him turning back out of a couple of they tried to stretch him out and see what would happen going longer with him, and he ran fine in those races, but he really wants to sprint. I mean, he just runs right by his field in the stretch. I suppose you could look at him and say, well, maybe the 5 of the Breeders' Cup Sprint out of Del Mar could be a little short for him because he does want to make one run from off the pace. But Dan, don't put anything past this horse. He is a top turf sprinter.
And two of the reasons that they probably tried to stretch him out earlier this year is the 5 furlongs, and perhaps it's a distance that's a little bit too short for Disco Partner. And two, the Clement barn already has a very fast horse that excels at 5, and that is Pure Sensation, who just seems to love the racing at parks.
Right.
This is a horse that earned a 110 Buyer speed figure 3 starts back. We know when he's allowed to control things, he's very dangerous.
Yeah, he's a fast horse, and he is very dangerous. When he gets the right trip, he can be really hard to beat. Yeah, and you're right, too, about maybe that's why they tried to stretch Disco Partner. It's also worth pointing out, not only are they both trained by Clement, but it's the same owners, and they did have to supplement Disco Partner to get him in, and they decided to do that, which I think probably says a lot about Disco Partner, but I don't think it says anything bad about Pure Sensation. I think everybody realizes he's a big contender in this race.
Two mid-pack runners that would benefit from pace. They are Holding Gold and Hoagie. I know you're a big fan of Holding Gold. I think he has sort of been banging around in his last few starts without success, but Holding Gold's the kind of horse that has always hinted at the potential to be a winner of a race like this.
Yeah, no, he's a real good horse. He matches up very well with all of these horses. I don't know where he's been. It feels like he hasn't had a prep leading up to the Breeders' Cup here, and I don't know if that's by design or if something happened, but if he shows up at Del Mar and he's 100%, that's a race he could easily win too. He's a good horse.
Do you think the 5's a little bit too short for a horse like Hoagie? He's just so tough that you never really want to put anything past him.
I agree with that. I think if he does show up there, I think he'll run his race. I do think it might be a little short. And I also, the more I think about it, I just sort of feel like if he's going to be trying to close in that race, I'm not so sure that Disco Partner isn't a better closer than Disco Partner kicks hard.
As of right now, however, Lady Aurelia is one of the shorter price chances on Mike Watchmaker's morning line for the Saturday Breeders' Cup card at least. She is the 8-5 preliminary favorite for the Turf Sprint over the mare that beat her last time out in Europe, Marsha at 7-2, Disco Partner at 9-2. For expanded Breeders' Cup contender lists, additions, deletions, more video previews, comments, go to drf.com/BC.